Here's to whiskey kisses, the peaty taste of sin. Edinburgh morning with the smell of brewing on the wind. Here's to lighting bonfires.
It's whiskey time. Greetings, whiskey folk, and welcome back to Drinking Out Loud. I am your host, as ever, Adam Bradshaw, and it is an absolute honour and pleasure to bring you here to my vacation on Hornby Island here in beautiful British Columbia. I am at Waning Station Bay, bringing you the new OutTurn from the Scotch Malt Whisky Society, OutTurn 119. This is going to be a slightly shorter video than normal because I'm running on battery. There's no outlets on the beach, so let's get started. Whiskey number one today is Mr. Pineapple and Miss Coconut, the perfect tasting notes for the beach. Let's get cracking, shall we? Here are the official tasting notes. The panel found themselves sitting on a beach quaffing cachaça and lime juice, slathered in coconut sunscreen and eating some bananas flambéed in old Demerara rum. A heady mix of lime and brine with rose petals and fresh pineapple juice. Reduction brought milk bottle candies, malted milk ice cream, white chocolate, pecan pie, and banana milkshake with custard donuts. The palate was initially full of rum baba, spiced honey, cinnamon swirls, peach syrup, and syrupy bourbon cocktails. Water brought buttered scones, lime curd, lychee, salted caramel, and rum, and raisin ice cream. It was matured in a barrel for 18 years before being transferred into a refill Trinidad rum barrel. Beautiful. So this is a grain whiskey. It's G9.4. It's one of 216 bottles, 20 years old, distilled on the 25th of July in the year 2000 from a Highland region. So there's not too many Highland grain whiskies. That should give it away a little bit. And yeah, like the note said, started off in a bourbon cask, finished in a rum cask. It's 62.1% ABV. Let's see if it suits the vibe, shall we? The first on-location bottle pop. Let's see how it goes. Ooh, love a beach bottle pop. Oh, yeah. It's a good way to start the day. Of course, as many of you are thinking, Hornby's usually a little busier than this. Yes, I am recording this in the morning, and what a great way to start. Yeah, lovely tropical notes, as you would expect, both from older grain whiskies and from a rum cask. This is kind of a double hitter. This is a 1-2 punch. I'm getting a little bit of cocktail cherry as well, you know, the glazed cherries. Not the bougie, expensive Morello cherries, but the cheap ones you get in the baking section that you put on top of a Bakewell tart. Oh, yeah. That is glorious. I can't think that we've ever had a rum cask before in the SMWS. Definitely not a rum cask grain whiskey. It's an experiment. It's a fun experiment, and it's certainly, in my mind, paid off. I think those flavors go really well together. This is super tropical, super rich, super complex. And apparently, I got the notes that this particular whiskey was made from organic wheat as well, which is kind of cool. And if you're wondering what G9.4 is, well, this is the 4th edition of the Loch Lomond grain whiskey. So different from their column still malt whiskey, which we've had a few times in the SMWS. Of course, the legendary thermonuclear banana was part of that one, the Ross Dew. This is not that. This is actually grain. Like I said, this is wheat, not barley, and it is a stunning way to start the day and enjoy on the beach on holiday. And if you are interested in this one, of course, it is available right now at strathliquor.com, and the price is in my pocket. It is $266.87 for a 20-year-old whiskey. That's beautiful. I'm sure this one will go down very well at the in-person tasting, so if you're catching this online on the first Friday of the month, go ahead and pick up a bottle. All right, what's up next? Well, next up we have Seaside Ceviche. Again, the perfect location. Let's see what that one's all about. The official tasting notes say that it is fresh and airy on the nose with hints of tomato leaf, unripe melon and fig, sea splashing against harbour walls, salted driftwood and purple popping candy. The neat palate is sparkly and zesty, cinnamon and ginger dusted melon sprinkled with brown sugar, then oak, charcoal, rosemary and tobacco to finish. The reduced nose has ceviche served by the seaside, mango, lemonade, lime wedge and a Mexican beer. The palate grows milder, barley sugars, toffee apples and the fruit salad chews. Then a finish of spicy chai in a wooden beaker, Angostura bitters and Euthymol tooth powder. Don't know what tooth powder is, never heard of Euthymol. Hopefully someone in the comments section can enlighten me. A bit of a chameleon. Seaside Ceviche. Yeah, beautiful. So this is 52.40 from the 27th of August 2013, a Highland whiskey matured for 7 years from a first fill ex-bourbon barrel, 58.4%. Nice. It's dropped a few ABV. The Angels have had a decent share at only 7 years old. That's not bad at all. Let's see what the Seaside Ceviche is all about. Ooh. A light cork pop there. Lovely. Try my best not to get sand in the sample bottles. Yeah. Ooh, mango. Oh, staying tropical. This is beautiful beach whiskey. I forgot to look what the theme of this month is. Your whiskey loving. This month we're coming together to enjoy positive vibes, feelings of friendship, and our love of whiskey. I've certainly got the positive vibes going right now. Yeah, it's got the melon, it's got the cinnamon it mentions as well. Definitely very, very much on the tropical and light spice kind of area of things. Yeah. Very nice indeed, very nice. This is a distillery that I don't think I'd had in the SMWS until quite recently, and this is a very different edition. Very much more spirit-led by the nose. It's got more of those tropical notes, which is kind of cool. Less wood influence. Oh, but then on the palate, there's actually quite a lot of vanilla and fudge and toffee and those kind of things as well. A little coffee in there too. Very nice. So, 52.40. For those of you who missed out on the last 52, this 52 is also from Pulteney Distillery, makers of the Old Pulteney single malt. Very, very nice. And it is available right now for existing members only because it is less than $180, so you can pick this up for $160.70. Lovely. Which brings us storming into our next whiskey. Whiskey number 3 today is from the spicy and dry category. It is called Scrambled Heather, and here are the official tasting notes. A surprisingly rich and emphatically dense aroma full of putty, clay, soot, wood embers, chalk dusters, heather flowers, old inkwells and malt extract. Wonderfully full and showing maturity beyond its years. With water we found old copper kettles, grass, nettle tea, rosehip, white rice, miso and plain pistachios. Notes of lemon, vitamin tablets in soda water and crushed oatcakes. The neat palate was wonderfully full in texture and elegantly drying. White, stout ales mixed with butter biscuits, hibiscus, wintergreen, grassy olive oil, and things like putty, wax jacket grease, and mustard powder. Reduction brought Earl Grey tea, rich heather ales, hot cross buns, cinnamon boiled sweets, bitter herbs, aniseed, and toasted fennel seed, or I assume it's supposed to say toasted. It says tasted fennel seed. I'm going to go with toasted. All right, scrambled heather. Lovely. So this is, again, a Highland malt. This is aged for 8 years, distilled on the 28th of May 2012. Again, from a first fill ex-bourbon barrel. This one's a little higher on the ABV scale with 60.5. And there's an outturn of 198 bottles in this edition. 198. They say it's big, bold, and mature beyond its years. Let's see. Let's see if we agree. Balancing whiskey on rocks. It's a dangerous game. There we go. So. Ooh. Yeah, she's a different beast, isn't she? Let's take a look at the notes again. This is very chalky on the nose. Very chalky. Very reminiscent of going down into caves in Derbyshire, funnily enough. That's interesting. Copper kettles, grass nettle tea. It tastes less like the beach and more like camping, which actually you could very much do just on the other side of the camera over there is a beautiful little woods or forest. I'm not sure what to call it, but yeah. This whiskey feels like it would be a little bit more at home on the other side of the camera. Buttery, little minty, definitely getting that olive oil. Loving the tannic notes like the Earl Grey tea like it mentions. Very good. So this is Distillery 28, this is 28.57, and this is a Tullibardine. And although the Tullibardine name has been used since 1798 as a distillery, it was actually only open for 1 year back then. The distillery as we know it now only dates back to 1949, and it was actually the first new single malt distillery in Scotland in 50 years, apparently, when it was built. It took a long time to recover from that crash in the late 1800s. Put my phone back in my pocket. I haven't got the most important information for you yet, have I? The price. If you are interested in picking up a bottle of this quite unique and delightful Tullibardine, you can get it for $160.78. Again, well under that 180 mark, so existing members only. Whiskey number 4 today is a very special whiskey, late night pantry raid, named by Kensington Wine Market's very own Evan Eckersley. This is part of the Global Gathering celebrations from the SMWS. And here are the official tasting notes. Bleary-eyed and peckish, you stare into the depths of the pantry in search of a midnight snack. Pushing past aromas of chamomile tea bags, Galliano liqueur, and half-used packets of Ichiban soup flavoring, you pull out a box of bran flakes, dried raspberries and honey. Before closing the door, you taste a few random items to verify their freshness. Jelly bellies, salted licorice, dried apricots, a milk chocolate bar, golden raisins, candied ginger, and yogurt-covered pretzels, sugar-coated fennel seeds, and a half-finished bag of Hawkins cheesies. How very Canadian. Well done, Evan. Salted and ready to go back to bed, Sorry, salted. Sated. That's better. But although with cheeses, you're probably a little salted too. Sated and ready to go back to bed, you open the fridge in search of filtered water. Behind sliced shallots and almond slivers, you notice a forgotten pan of raisin walnut butter tart squares. You should have looked in the fridge first. After 12 years in an ex-bourbon hogshead, this was transferred into a first fill Sauternes barrique. Beautiful. So this Late Night Pantry Raid SMWS 35.295 is one of 265 bottles. It is from the 30th of January 2006. It is a Speyside, and its initial cask was an ex-bourbon hogshead before the finish in an ex-Sauternes barrique, a first fill ex-Sauternes barrique, aged for 14 years. And there's a little side bit here, approved by SMWS Canada and partners. Hey, that's us, we're a partner. Yeah, we got a sample of this late last year. I myself also added my own tasting notes. I have to be honest though, they weren't as good as Evan's. Yeah, quite rightfully, his tasting notes were on point there. That was very, very good. And I am very much looking forward to revisiting this whiskey and sharing it with you, our members, as part of this global gathering. Canadian exclusive, I believe, as well. Let's give it a try. We've seen a few 35s recently. Bit of a fan favourite here at the SMWS, not just by the panel, but also by our members, who are often pleasantly surprised at the variety you get from this distillery. And this one should definitely prove to be in that variety segment, because a Sauternes finish, can do wonderful things to a whiskey such as this. Glenmoray is 35. They have fun with their wine finishes over there. They've done a lot of interesting stuff. Oh, this is beautiful. I remember when I first tasted and nosed this, I found an awful lot of stone granity kind of things. I'm trying to remember the name I came up with. The Great Pictish Bake Off, I think it was, because it's like lots of stone carving and lots of baked goods. But also I can very much get the slightly stale Hawkins cheesies. Oh yeah. Big, rich, buttery, complex, lots of different things. But altogether, you know, it's not too serious. It's a cheeky whiskey, kind of like a cheeky late night trip to the pantry, you know? It feels slightly, it feels like you shouldn't be doing it, but it's so good that you are. It's very good. I love the Sauternes influence on this. Nice, sort of sharp, almost balsamic-y kind of fruity notes in there. Absolutely stunning. And you can pick up this very limited edition special Canadian late night pantry raid. It is available for $221.65. 14-year-old Sauternes influenced whiskey. Beautiful. Slancher var. And you can find out more about the Global Gathering Initiative we're going to put all of the notes that were provided in the booklet also on the webpage for this bottle. So check out our webpage at strathliquor.com for this bottle, and you can find out more about the Global Gathering and what that's all about and what it means going forward. But we stride ever onwards onto whiskey number 5 today. I think it was number 4, right? I'm on holiday, I'm not keeping track anymore. Whiskey number 5, I think, is called Solera Syrup from the Deep, Rich and Dried Fruits collection. Robust aromas conjured a sticky blend of tar, molasses and maple syrup that oozed over oxidized fruit and heavy oak, like sherry treacle in a Solera. Rum-soaked raisins, cinnamon nutmeg, joined with black olives and prunes on a bed of orange, ginger and licorice fruit. Water released notes of wine like Tokai and Armagnac, with shredded coconut and fennel seeds. The palate combined hazelnuts and roasted chestnuts with a hint of coal scuttle and heavy fruitcake that lasted into a finish bound by charcoal and strong black tea. At 16 years of age, we combined 2 first-fill bourbon barrels, originally filled on the same day, so 2 sister casks, and they put them both into a first-fill Pedro Jimenez butt. So this is that age-old question, is when is a single cask whiskey not a single cask whiskey? Does this count? I'm not sure. It came from a single cask, but that cask came from 2 casks. It's the holy duality, right? It's the 2 into the 1. Yeah. All right, this is the Solera Syrup 7.248, an outturn 1 of 317. Of course, from Pedro Jimenez Bud, it's going to get a bigger outturn than you would think. Yeah, 4th of June 2002, 17 years age from the Speyside region, 51.1. So, ooh, that ABV has gone down quite significantly on this one. And I'm expecting a nice, rich PXS color. Oh yeah, look at that. Nice and golden. Shimmering in the sunlight. I love it. Love everything about it. Oh, yeah. Tar, molasses and maple syrup oozed over sherry casks with black olives and prunes. This feels like it could be very much enjoyed on a beach, but maybe more of an Iberian beach than this Cascadian beach. But yeah, very... Let's go there. I don't know why they don't all balance on that little bit, but I don't want to risk it on this one. Oh, yeah, beautiful. Nice, deeper, richer, darker flavors. I think I might sneakily take another dram of this later on, because I think this is more of a nighttime whiskey than a morning whiskey, but I'm going to enjoy it now nonetheless. Dates, prunes, figs. Oh, that's lovely. So we already know that this distillery hits its peak around this age. Well, not necessarily its peak, but its standard single bottlings usually are around that 16-18 mark. Not that we've had any in BC for a long time. But yeah, this is where the spirit likes to sit. 17 years old, I think, is just the right amount of maturation for this. Oh, yeah. And that sherry butt influence after the bourbon cask, for me, it's the best of both worlds. You're getting all that bourbon oak influence, all of those vanillins, and then you're infusing it with the PX cask as well. 17 years in a PX cask, and I think this would be way too much. 17 years in a bourbon cask, it'd be very, very good, but this just kicks it up a notch. Really does. So Distillery 7, many of you are very familiar with this one. A distillery I really enjoy. I actually, weirdly enough, discovered this distillery after learning more about Japanese whiskey, because of course this is Longmorn. Longmorn's one of the places that Masataka Takatsuru did his studying, and in fact is, I believe, the distillery that Yoichi's blueprints were based on, which is pretty cool. So since then I've gone back and discovered the origins, and yeah, the Longmorn makes great whiskey, don't they? It's a little bit of a hidden Speyside secret, I feel, this distillery. A lot of people don't know about it, but those that do know it's very good. And this 17-year-old PX-influenced Longmorn can be yours. It is available right now for $254.70. And again, I have a feeling this is going to be one of the ones that at the in-person preview tastings is going to sell quite well. So there's probably only a couple of bottles left. Pick them up right now at strathliquor.com. $254.70. Oh, that is good. But for me, as much as I like tropical notes on a beach, and as much as I wouldn't have thought to do it, but I really enjoy these sherry notes on a beach. For me, the beach is the place to embrace the ocean and embrace all of the weird and wonderful flavors that you find when you're this close to the sea. And that includes, for me, peated whiskey. Our next release is called The Tar Pit, and this is definitely not a single cask. This is not even a single malt. This is a blended malt from the SMWS, their 11th blended malt variation, and this is a particularly special one because this is just all out Islay. And here are the official tasting notes and information on this bottling, which is nicely written all out on the back of the label here. For this expression, we wanted to introduce some sherry-matured whiskies into our recipe to bring some weight and complement the huge smoky elements of the spirit. We opted for the dark, syrupy delights of Pedro Jimenez sherry butts along with some refilled bourbon hogsheads to temper and balance the dark sweetness. So much like the last one, we're going to get a combination of those flavors. But unlike the last one, instead of a finish in the PX, we're actually mixing PX with bourbon casks. Super cool. And here's the panel's tasting notes. The panel's tasting experience was an all-enveloping wowza, as the first reaction from one panelist. A strong waft of oily peat drifting across the moor towards the harbour, it conjured up images of tarred ropes draped in kelp. We could smell malt loaf and salted peanuts mixed with burnt raisins. Lobster boats and creoles provided minerality, and there were notes of dark rum and brandy, a splendid backbone of peat and medicinal flavours backed up by licorice, banana, rosemary, and distant dunnage warehouses. We imagined the formation of a tar pit, enveloping all around it and creating the most fragrant smoke. It's oily and medicinal, with warming and spicy elements like bonfire oranges and gingerbread. Now an entire field of pineapple plants fell victim to the advancing tar, sending sweet tropical soot into the air. A touch of water gave notes of iodine and honey-glazed peat. We cooked sweet, glazed Chinese pork belly in the tarry heat as the pit consumed gorse bushes and fizzled as it was flecked with sea spray. The sweet sherry influence came through in the form of peaty prune juice cocktail. Sweet and salty seaside vibes had us hearing gulls. The smoke gradually subsided, leaving citrus, smoked brine, and ash in its wake. Oh. And yeah, it's got me feeling all Jurassic, this one, the big dinosaur on the front there. But, historically, this bay was called Whaling Station Bay. So a lot of those sort of big oily notes that I'm expecting with the tarry ropes and everything probably used to be here. You wouldn't think it looking at it now. It's just, a bunch of beautiful seaside cottages. But yeah, I feel like I'm in a good spot for this whiskey. So this is aged for 9 years. It is 50% ABV, as pretty much all of the blended malts have been. I think all of them have been, actually. And there's more information I have in the booklet that isn't on the bottle. This is actually, like I said, 100% Islay, and an outturn of 1,446 bottles, which gives you an idea of how many casks went into this mix. Yeah, they sold on the 21st of April 2011, aged for 9 years. And yeah, it is $159.91, and I say that from the get-go because, well, it's already available at strathliquor.com. Jump across there and get it right now if you want. But that's an important thing to remember, is one of the beautiful benefits of a blended malt whiskey, along with what I think is a great benefit of having all of the flavors from more than one distillery melded together, is the price reduction as well. For some reason, this is a very, very approachable price, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what it's all about, because I love peat, I love sherry, I love it when they get together. Peat and sherry are a perfect couple. They should get married. Peat and sherry in holy matrimony. I say they should get married. I don't actually believe that. They can stay common law if they want. It's personal choice. Oh. Beautiful. All right. Oh yeah, sweet and peat. This for me, this is a beach whiskey. As much as, I mean, actually, that first one, that Loch Lomond, was stunning and really set the tone. Now I'm into a few whiskies. It's a little later in the day. The sun's getting higher in the sky. Love me a little smoke on the beach. Smoke on the water, fire in the sky. That's good stuff. Yeah, it's that classic combination of peat and smoke. Peat and sweet, which just works so incredibly well. Something that, you know, kind of came into the forefront of people's idea of whiskey after the awards and the high acclaim that Ardbeg's peated sherried editions won. Of course, the Ugadal being the big one there. This is just great stuff. Oh, it's medicinal. Oh, I love playing the guessing game of what distilleries are in here. It's so medicinal, but it's not quite a Lafroig medicinal. For me, it's got that slightly more, it's slightly rougher than Lafroig's medicinalness. I almost want to say Kilcommon. I don't think they would have put a 9-year-old Kilcommon cask in here, but I also am not sure they'd put a 9-year-old Lafroig cask in here, so I'm not sure where that medicinalness is coming from. Perhaps a Stoischer, you know, a young peated Bunnahabhain, that sometimes has these kind of notes. I'd almost want to say Glen Scotia, but I've been told this is all Islay, so that kind of knocks it out. If you like peat and you like sherry, and you know, if, like I've said before, if you're the kind of person that's watching whiskey videos on YouTube, you probably know if you like peat and sherry. If you don't know, this is a great way to find out. Because worst case scenario, if you don't like it, you're going to have many people come to your house who are guests and who are asking for a whiskey who will like this whiskey. This is a bit of a crowd pleaser for today's palates. If you like smoke and you like sherry, this is a great example of those two flavors combined. Slancher. Okay, whiskey folk, whiskey number 7, the last whiskey of today's tasting, Industrial Chimney Soot. Let's see what this one's all about. The official panel tasting notes are right here in my pocket. Aromas darken the room as if a thick Islay smog had been sent by the devil from the deepest peat-filled abyss, and fused with engine grease along the way. Burning newspapers spiraled flakes of black ash into the air that fluttered in the smoke like burnt butterflies from Hades. Whew. Then, through the seemingly impenetrable reek of chimney soot and charcoal, came a shining ray of golden treacle that illuminated the caramelized crackling of burnt pork belly. A crunch from peanut brittle crumbled into maple syrup as it trickled down a chimney and onto heather and gorse that sparked and flamed in the fireplace. Finally, a waft of singed cinnamon married with the wood and ash before a complex amalgamation of iodine, aniseed balls, and mussel rub evaporated into the finish and numbed the tongue like cloves fired from a ship's cannon. I'm not sure any ship has ever fired cloves from its cannon, but hey, maybe they have. This is, a 53. We love a 53. This is 53.345. One of 239 bottles that they got out of a Refill X bourbon hogshead that was distilled on the 1st of September 2008 and matured for 11 years. It's 58.1%, and this for me is an island. This is a beach whiskey. This is glorious. I could almost believe I was in Isla if only the sun wasn't shining. Alrighty. Oh yeah, big coastal engine-y peat on this one. Yep. Oh. Smelling this glass and then just, taking in the surroundings, it feels like there's some kind of invisible trawler that's just kind of creeping up behind us, and we don't know it's there, but we can smell it, and that's the only clue we have. Oh, lovely. Delicious, delicious burning tar. I'm getting mussels, like mussel shells. It's like you're preparing a white wine sauce with mussels, and you're boiling away the sauce and the butter, and you've added some smoky whiskey into it, and then next to you you've got your kitchen assistant, your partner in crime, who's debearding all the mussels and scraping the shells and getting them primed to go in the pot. And that of course comes to mind because I did that a couple of days ago. Shout out to Fanny Bay Oysters, you have some fantastic mussels. Oh, well, this has been lovely. I'm going to reveal the price on this last bottle here and then get back to my holidays. This 53.345 can be yours for $210.35. Pick it up at strathliquor.com while you can. And yeah, this has been a glorious way to spend a morning. I'm going to go cool off in the ocean. I might go for a bit of a paddle. I've got a kayak just over there. I think that is my next plan. I might even take a whiskey with me in the kayak. But don't worry, I'll wear a life jacket. I'll be safe about it. Thanks for joining us on Drinking Out Loud. We'll be back to our regular scheduled programming in the James Bay Bothy again next month. Yeah, thank you to the SMWS for OutTurn 119, which of course means that the next OutTurn is OutTurn 120. And if you do a quick bit of math, 12 months in a year, and one OutTurn a month, it's 10 years. Celebration of 10 years of SMWS Canada coming up next month. We're not sure what the protocols are going to be like. They've just rolled back a little bit of the health protocols here in BC. By the looks of it, we are able to do the tastings that I've got planned for next week for September's OutTurn preview. We're not quite sure what's going to happen in October, so fingers crossed we can celebrate in person. But if not, we'll all get together digitally, and we'll see what we can do to try and work with some whiskey clubs to get some of the new releases to our members' lips. But in the meantime, stay safe, stay well, stay hydrated and pleasantly lubricated with this engine oil-esque style Kalila. Slanchavar, I'll see you next time.
Oh, the times were hard and the wages low. Me and you where you found. Oh, the Rocky Mountains are my home. Across the Western Ocean. Across the Western Ocean. It's a land of plenty there you'll see. Me and you where you found. I am up across the Western Sea. Across the Western Ocean. Across the Western Ocean. To Liverpool I'll make my way. Me and you where you found. To Liverpool, that seaboard town. across the Western Ocean, across the Western Ocean. There's a Liverpool pop with a sailor's hat, Amelia, where you bound, and Yankee John the packet rat, across the Western Ocean, across the Western Ocean. Beware those packet ships, I pray, Amelia, where you bound. They'll steal your gold and your stars away, across the Western Ocean, across the Western Ocean. Oh, the times were hard and the wages low, Amelia, where you bound. Oh, the Rocky Mountains are my home, across the Western Ocean, across the Western Ocean.